The reason Telltale Games does things episodically is because playing their games in one full, complete sitting would create an influx of awesomeness so profound it could cause a chain reaction that would unravel the very fabric of the space-time continuum and destroy the entire universe. Granted, that's a worst-case scenario. It could just be because massive games that are meant to be played in one sitting are impractical and off-putting for people who, you know, have lives. But regardless of the reasoning, it just works for Telltale Games. It strings us along, it creates anticipation, and it helps balance our gaming diets with little healthily digestible bites. And among their many delicious episodic series, none have been quite as tasty as this one, at least not to me. And finally, from the good people at Telltale Games, it's Back to the Future, the game, Episode 2, Get Tannin'. Lengthy subtitle, denoting lengthy awesomeness. So here's the thing, you can buy Back to the Future, the game, in a single purchase, in which you're paying for all 5 episodes. So you might be asking, well, why review them one at a time? And our reasoning for that is valid, multifaceted, and argumentatively potent. It's that I really like Back to the Future. Obviously, Episode 2 chronicles the events after Episode 1. Or is it the events before Episode 1? I don't know, and that's really the best thing about Back to the Future, the game. Telltale has done a fantastic job of recreating the time-traveling tension of the movies. They create lots of timelines, and each one has its own character. Every setting in Back to the Future is Hill Valley, California, but because each Hill Valley has its own unique characters and circumstances, it never feels like the same place. To put this into video game terms, it's kind of like how Majora's Mask felt very familiar to Ocarina of Time, but not all that similar. And in fact, it's that very dynamic, that playing on the player's expectations, that makes Back to the Future the game such a compelling story. Now, the truth is, generally speaking, I couldn't care less about story in video games, and that's not because I'm fundamentally opposed to them, but it's because their execution is generally lacking. Such is not the case in Back to the Future the game, and Episode 2 keeps the story moving at both a brisk and satisfying pace. You actually care about the characters, you care about what happens to them, and as an admittedly abnormally devoted fan of the films, I've been absolutely enthralled by the twists Telltale has given them. More than 20 years since Marty McFly and Doc Brown's Happily Ever After. So Episode 2 is another quintessentially Telltale point-and-click adventure. That is to say, it's the best in the world at what it is. You're walking around Hill Valley as Back to the Future's teenage time traveler, Marty McFly, talking to beloved characters from the movies while trying to solve problems and restore order to the space-time continuum. Now, there's always been something inherently appealing about going back in time to fix stuff, and that's one of the reasons the movies struck such a genuine chord with audiences. And to be able to actually do that yourself in such an interactive and personal way, it really gives Back to the Future the game the same kind of charm. As for what actually happens, well, I don't want to spoil anything, so let's just say Telltale starts really putting their own stamp on things in Episode 2, and it pays off. It feels unique and fun, but never removed from what a fourth movie might have been. And by the way, the guy doing the Michael J. Fox impression, he's unbelievable. I mean, you sometimes forget it's not actually him. This guy, give this guy an award and give Back to the Future the game Episode 2 a download. I mean, listen, your density has brought it to you.
Doc, punch it.